Hello everyone, welcome to our next tutorial as we learn how to make a Google Slide iPod through the power of Google Slides, YouTube, and Canva. Let's do this. Step 1, creating our thumbnail. Hello everyone, this is Bill Stevens, so glad you're here. Let's get started and get right into it. First, go ahead and go to canva.com. Now, if you're an educator, you actually have access to a free EDU account. However, most people may not. So Canva does have a free version. We're not going to go into this. However, if you upgrade, Canva is just the one place for content creation. It's amazing. So we're going to go to canva.com and we're going to go ahead and create a design. So go ahead and create a design in the upper right-hand corner. And we're going to go ahead and just do it as a presentation because what we're going to do is we're going to change the size. So you're going to go to the browser version is my recommendation on your desktop. And we're going to go ahead and immediately resize this because we want this visible on cell phones in the ratio of 9:16. So we're going to go ahead and press resize. I'm going to change the pixels to inches. And you notice there is something already there, so I'm going to change that 9:16 in inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put a lock on it. I'm going to copy and resize. Continue in browser. And as you notice, it's kind of in that size of a cell phone. So this will work out very well when we're actually putting things together. So now what we want to do is we want to come to the size and go to Elements. And you're going to go ahead and select, actually you're going to type in iPod. And again, there's variations. You have some leeway in this. I'm going to go ahead and put an iPod. And I see a whole bunch of different things. Photos, videos, graphics. I'm going to keep it on graphics. So I'm going to go ahead and expand it and press See All. And there's different types of visuals. I'm going to go with one that I know I can write on. Let me go ahead and find one and we'll get right back to it. Okay, so I just found this gray version of an iPod, and it looks pretty good. It's pretty simple, and one of the nice little things that it has its menu, it has its fast forward, rewind, and play and pause. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to take most of the screen, but not all of it. So I'm going to go ahead and extend this out, and I'm thinking, okay, I want to have a little, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the outside black. And I'm going to have a little bit of space at the bottom to work with. So let's go ahead and choose your iPod. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this background. So I'm going to select down to the side so the background is not white anymore. I'm going to go ahead and make that black so it matches my actual phone a little bit later. I kind of like that dark and white or dark and gray, dark versus light colors. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to call this Google Slide GS iPod. So I go ahead and save. I can go to File, just so I don't lose my work here. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is, this is just the front. So it's going to have basic access into the Google Slide iPod. And basically, this is going to be an image for our front cover. We're going to come back to this and edit this in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and add text. And I'm going to go ahead and select my text. And I just want this to kind of look like a title when it's on my phone. So I'm going to put it in white text in a moment. And I'll just say, for my purpose, Music Educator iPod, Google Slide iPod, Google Slide iPod. Let me change the color so you can see it. Kind of make that a whitish color. I'm going to make it a little bigger. I'm also going to make it look presentable here. So now my text, I want to keep all of this within the window of this image of an iPod. So you see how it's really kind of touching the edges. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little smaller so that there's some space between. Okay, and I could keep it just like this, But what I'm going to do is, just so I can say, hey, this is mine, I made it, I'm going to go ahead and add an image. For me, I'd actually want to use a logo, but you can really put anything that you really connect with. So I'm going to go ahead and find something that I can connect with. And again, this is going to be the front thumbnail that's on my phone and on my Google slideshow. So, and you'll see what I mean in a little bit. Here we go. Found something with good contrast. And again, a lot of times when you're in Canva, you can actually change the colors. You can take out backgrounds, all kinds of stuff. So this looks pretty simple. And that's really all I need. I like the text. Text is very simple. It's very clear. So I'm going to leave it at that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save again. And I can always come back and edit this. And I'm going to go ahead and press share. Now, I try to keep this in as good quality image as possible. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and press download. I'm going to make sure it's a PNG. I could increase the size, but I don't really think I need to. So I'm going to press download. And what's happening is that image is downloading to my desktop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new window, and I am going to open up Google Slides. And if you're not familiar with Google Slides, there are plenty of YouTube videos you can check out. For right now, I'm just going to go to these 9 dots next to my Chrome window. I'm going to click Slides, and I'm going to press blank, or click blank rather. I'm going to make a new presentation. Now, as you can see, the image size of this slide is not the same as what we just created in Canva. So what am I going to do? Well, first I'm going to go ahead and title it, because I always want to save it. Because if I don't title this, I won't find it in my Google Drive, which this will actually save into. So I'm going to call this Google Slide iPod. All right. And now I'm concerned about the size. So I'm going to go to File, scroll down to where it says Page Setup. And it says widescreen 16 by 9. Well, I don't want that. I want 9 by 16. So I go to Custom, and I'm going to make sure it's on inches. Go 9 by 16. Okay, and I have these extra text boxes. I'm just going to take those out for right now. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and insert image, or I could do background. Let's just check out background first. Okay, so background means it's a little more permanent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I don't want to really have the image slide back and forth, so I'm going to turn it into a background. So I can still choose the image I selected, and I just press upload, and I browse, and I find it in my downloads folder. This is the last file. And then what happens is I press done, and you notice right now, if I try to move this, I'm trying to move it, I can't, because I used it as a background rather than inserting it as an image. So that works out great. And that's how you make your thumbnail. Step number 2, creating the iPod layout. Okay, in this section, we're going to make the Google Slide iPod layout, so everything flows and everything works. So to do that, we're going to jump back to Canva. And this is our old thumbnail image. Well, it's not old, but it's our thumbnail image. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make a few adjustments. So first, I'm going to delete everything that's actually in this main area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this space below the iPod, and I'm going to go ahead and put in home. Now, you might wonder, why am I doing this? Well, even though we have a menu, we have forward, backwards, and play and pause, we have not a whole lot of functionality, because remember, this is going to be on the phone. So I'm creating what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a spot where if someone wants to get back to the very beginning, they're not sure where they're going, they can access the home page, which would be our original thumbnail. So we're going to keep this really simple in the beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and just keep this design, okay? So again, I'm going to go ahead and share in the upper right hand corner and download it as a PNG. And I'm going to go back to my Google Slides. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this plus button on the top. So it creates a new slide. Now it doesn't copy what I already created. It just creates the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these text boxes for right now. And just like before, I'm going to make a background. Okay, so I'm going to go to background. And I'm going to choose the image that I just made in Canva. And we have that home at the bottom. So now what I can do is I can create a customizable screen. Okay, so we're going to do this a few times. However, this time we want to go ahead and make life easier. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually start linking some of this layout together. So what I'm going to do, and this is a really important step, with this one slide, we're going to actually duplicate it. But before we do this, we're going to have this home duplicated in the sense that it's all slides that people press home will come back to this first initial slide. So if on any slide anybody presses home, it will come back to the first slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the text box, and I'm going to just go ahead and create this little highlighted section, and I'm not actually going to type anything. I'm also, you notice it says reshape size to fit because this doesn't seem very big. I'm going to take do not auto fit. Okay, so now I can just go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so now I have this. While this is lit, I'm going to go up to the top of the screen and I'm going to find the insert link button. So this is where some of the magic happens. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, every time someone clicks this home, I'm going to have them go to slide number 1. So I'm going to click that, and you see now it is slide 1. So let me test this out. I'm going to open it up as a slideshow. I'm on this, and if I click this home, it should take me to the first slide. So let's click it, and boom, there we are, first slide. So let me press escape to exit that. So now this is the very most basic format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the second slide now, and I'm going to make a whole bunch of copies of this. So I'm going to press Control D for duplicate, and I'm going to get a whole bunch of these. So I'm going to maybe make 30 for now. I can always duplicate this again. So if I don't like something, I can always change it. And so we have our basic outline of what's happening. Step number 3, creating categories. Now we're getting into the meat and the potatoes of this project. And we're going to be creating categories for what our iPod can watch, see, do, all those things. And by the way, even though we're focusing more on the musical side of things, you can make YouTube videos and different kinds of things that students or anybody else can access. And by the way, you can share your links so that people can legitimately save this on their phones. It's really kind of cool that when you app smash this kind of stuff, these cool things are possible. So we're going to create categories, and it's going to be based on music. And if you haven't already guessed, we are going to use YouTube's videos essentially to play different kinds of music and different things like that. So what I'm going to do is on the second slide, I'm going to go ahead and click the text box, and I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much select the whole box. Now obviously I am going to need to make that text box bigger, so I'm going to make this do not auto fit again. Got it. Okay. And I'm going to text categories, and I'm going to make my text white because obviously you can't see it right now. So I select the color, and it's very small, and if it's on a phone, there's no way people are going to be able to see that. So I'm going to make it as big as I can without basically ruining it. So I'm going to have categories. I'm going to have some very basic categories for me, and because I'm talking about music, I am going to keep them kind of general. Let me go ahead and put this main one, make it obvious that it is kind of like a title. Give it an underline, and you can do what you want, however you want to format it. So I'm going to say, okay, I want classical, I want rock, I want jazz, I want easy listening. And then I'm going to have a section for just general playlists, mixtures of things. So playlists. And let me go ahead. And I don't want everything outlined, so let's see if I can redo that real quick. Unselect the line and just do it on one. There we go. Okay, and then let's see if I can maximize my space. See if I can make these a little bit bigger, because again, you'll be clicking on these on the screen. So, okay, so we have these categories. So what do I want to do? I want to make a screen for each one of these categories. So I'm going to use the next few versions of the template that I made to put one per. So we will do classical for this first one. So as you guessed, we're going to use the text box and we're just going to call it classical. We're going to keep it at that, classical. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and again change the color to white, make it big as possible. And for now, I'm going to have the top 5 classical pieces. So that's going to take a little time to figure out what those are. So for right now, I'm just going to make this classical, and I'm going to go to the next one. So the next one's going to be rock. So I'm basically going to do the same thing. So how about this? Let's make life easier. Let's just go ahead and Control C for copy. Go to the next slide. Control V for paste. And I'm just going to kind of center it best I can. And I'm going to change classical to rock. Okay, so that's changed. We're going to do jazz. Okay, so we have our basic categories worked out. So categories, classical rock, jazz, easy listening, and kind of like what you might have predicted. And we will update these in the next section. But what we want to do is we want to link each one of these categories to the number slide. So for instance, classical will be linked to slide number 3. So what do? I highlight the word that I want that's going to be pressed. I will click this link button and I'll find, okay, I want to go to slides in this presentation at the bottom here. I'm going to find slide 3. Now that is lit. Now, check it out. It's a little hard to see. It's a darker turquoise-ish color. So let's lighten it up to, well, white is probably the easiest to see. So we're just going to put it there. And it did add a underline. Let's just underline it. It's still linked, but we're going to take out that. Okay, so rock would be number 4. And if worse comes to worse, just press tab. Tab, 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 till you finally get there. There it is. Okay, we're going to slide 7. There we go. Change the color. Change the underline. Boom. Okay, so all of these are now linked. Now, if we did it right, these should go to the respective categories. So let's go. We're in the slideshow mode. I'm going to go classical. If I click it, it should take me to classical. Perfect. I'm going to press home. Now, mind you, home will take me to the main site. So how do I get to the next one? Well, I can just press menu and it'll take me to the categories. Okay, so now I'm going to go to rock. Test it out. There's rock. Then I'm going to go to jazz. There's jazz. Go to easy listening. There's easy listening. And playlist. Fantastic. Okay, so there I am. And that is creating categories. Step number 4, supplying content. Okay, so in this portion of the project, this is our workhorse part of the task. And in this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to create 5 different pieces for each category, and we're going to do this by looking into YouTube. So let's go to YouTube, youtube.com, and we're going to just start searching these different categories. So the first one was classical, and we're just going to find some kind of classical music. Now I'm going to be careful what I play on this video just because of copyright, but as you notice, we have all kinds of different things and different kinds of songs, and the idea is that when we're creating this project, one video at a time is going to be playing in that window. And so let's just do the first one, and then what I'll do is I'll skip ahead. So let's just find something, for instance, Beethoven's Fifth. So let's classical, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Okay. There we go, in C minor. So we found it, and what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure it plays. We got a little advertisement in the beginning.
Need SEO for your website? Go to
All right, everybody knows that portion of Beethoven's Fifth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link. So I'll go to share, copy the link, and then we're going to go back to our site. So to start off, I'm going to go to the form that says classical. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a text box underneath that, and we may not even do 5, maybe we'll do 3 per. So let's say Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. It does not have to be super lengthy right now, because all we want to do is we want to have a link to go to. So I'm going to change the color of that again to white, and let's make it a little bigger. And just to know that it's part of our list, let's just put a number 1 there. Does that work? Yeah, that works. Okay, I mean, maybe you could put a bullet point. That's kind of up to you, but I'm going to make this a little bigger. And so yeah, probably 3, no more than 3 on a screen. So, and then obviously what we're going to do is we're going to hyperlink this just like the other way, but I'm going to show you real quick how we're going to do this, and then what I'll do is I'll skip ahead with all of it done. So we're going to go to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and remember we had that link that we created before, so I'm going to scroll down to an empty template here. So we're going to use this one right here as Beethoven's Fifth, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, again, we copied the link from that YouTube video. I'm going to press insert, and we're going to go to video. We're going to put that link into the YouTube search, select it, press select, and then we'll get this video square that's going to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it look all fancy like, and put it the best we can in here. Now obviously you see the original ratio is not exact, so what I'm going to do is it's going to have kind of a quasi squarish look, and I adjust it that way. Okay, now I'm going to click it because when I go to this, I just want it to start. Now I could wait and click on it, but because it's an iPod, basically if I click it, I want it to start. So instead of having it go on the click, I'm going to have it go automatically. So I can change that right here, and I want it to play the whole thing. So now, so this is slide number 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the category of classical music. We have Beethoven's Fifth. Just like before, I'm going to go ahead and hyperlink this. I'm going to click the link right here. We're going to go to slide 8 in the presentation and click this. I'm going to change it again because it needs to be viewable. So I'm going to make it white again, take out the underline, and I'm going to see if it works. So I go to slideshow, I click Beethoven's Fifth, and it brings me right to the video. And it plays. Now I can always press the stop to have it stop, but it does work. And part of what we're going to be doing too is actually having these controls go toward something. So for right now, we're not going to worry about that. That's not part of this section of the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make 3 songs for each category, and then I'll go ahead and show you what happens with the playlist afterwards. I'll see you in a bit. And we're back. And so over that time, I went ahead and made 3 songs per category. And I also put together a playlist. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But if you notice, real quick, each one of these guys is essentially inlaid, if that's even the right word. If you click just for the settings, you can change the settings. Each one of them is set to play automatically. So that should work when it's in slideshow mode, which if you have it on your phone, that's probably what you're going to do. Now, the one thing I want you to be aware of are the playlists. Now, the playlists, obviously, it's multiple songs in one. With Google Slides at the moment, you cannot actually copy a playlist link and put it in. So, for instance, here's one, and here's one. What you need to do is go onto YouTube and find one video that has many different songs or has many different videos within one. And by doing that, then you can use the playlist. So a little bit of a hindrance, but still functional. So let's double check. Now what we want to do is in the next section, we're going to talk about finishing the links for this. And then we're going to wrap up by learning how to put it on your phone. Step number 5, interconnecting slides. We are now at the point where we can almost see and feel the completion of the project. What we're going to do now is we're going to do the cleanup work. We're going to start connecting the slides more so that they flow flawlessly, and then we'll make some edits here and there before we can finally export the project. So let's do this. We're going to start by using these forward arrows to go forward in certain situations. Not every button here will be used, but it's all going to be the same. So in this opening slide, we're going to go ahead and send the forward button to the categories tab, and it's going to be all done very similar to what we've done before. We're going to click the text box tab, and then we're going to go ahead and create this little box. We're going to press do not autofit. Make sure the box is big enough so that it can be selected. And then what we're going to do is we're going to link that. So in this situation, we'll click this to slide number 2. And one quick way is to press the number 2 for slide number 2 to come up, and then it's now linked. Because on this first slide we're not playing, we're just going to skip that. We're not going to add any links to buttons that really don't have any function. So we'll go to slide number 2. And we'll do the same thing over and over again. Now, as we get to the actual slides with the music, we're going to go ahead and have the forward buttons go to the next one in the category. So for instance, slide 8 will go to slide 9. And if I press forward again, it will go to slide 10. And then in the reverse, it will go in reverse. But I'm not going to interconnect. I'm not going to have everything from each song just keep on going. Otherwise, you lose that interconnectivity quality aspect. So that's what's going to happen. All the homes are already set to go to the main page, and so we're going to go ahead and do that and clean everything up. Okay, so we've now interconnected all the slides that have function. Now keep in mind, we did not add any hyperlinks to the play button because the videos are set to play automatically, and we have interconnected them so every button that does work has a function. Now, what we need to do is, one, we need to double check everything in the slideshow, which I have. However, we also need to delete any slides that we don't actually need. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to make this very efficient. We're going to take out any slides that have no function. Okay, so now we have 22 slides. Each has a function, and we're going to make sure we share it, because if we try to share it with people or put it on our phone, it won't work if it doesn't work. So we're going to make sure anyone with the link, press done, and we'll talk about exporting this in one moment. Step 6. Exporting your Google Slide iPod. Now we're at the step where we can export our Google Slide iPod. To start, let's go to File and go ahead and go to Share. Again, we mentioned we're going to share it with others by making sure the general access is open to everyone. However, we go back to File, then Share. We want to go ahead and also publish to the web. Okay, and I would say just go ahead and put it for every minute. Ideally, you don't want it to auto advance, but it has that option. So go ahead and do that, and then press publish to the web. I have already done it, so that's why it says stop publishing. And then we're going to go ahead and jump to the iPhone. So let's do that now. Okay, so now we're in our phone. We're going to click our Google Drive. Since everything saves in Google Drive, we're going to open up our file. We're going to select the 3 dots and go to Share, and we're going to copy the link. Once we've copied the link, we're going to go ahead and find the shortcuts within our iPhone. Once we've done that, we're going to click the plus button where it says Starter Shortcuts. We're going to press Add Action, and you're going to click the little icon that says Web. Once you do that, you're going to scroll down to URL. Then you're going to go ahead and use that link that you copied. You're going to paste that in. However, you're going to change it slightly. You're going to delete the edit at the end and add. You're going to add presents, question mark, USP equals sharing. Then what you're going to do is you're going to press the open URL button that's just below it, the next action. Then you're going to go ahead and rename it, whatever you feel like is appropriate. I'm putting Google Slide iPod. However, that may not work, so I might have to change it. Yes, because I've already done this once before. So I'm going to try first to go ahead and create an icon. So I click the little icon button next to the name, and I find the icon I want to use. I'm going to use this little iPod icon. Makes sense. And I'm going to try to rename this again. So let's try Google iPod. Let's see if that works. Press done. So that shortcut should be there. Now let's just go see if it's on my phone. Nope, it's not yet. It's not quite on my home screen. So what do I need to do? Go back to shortcuts. Click the Google iPod. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press share. And at the very bottom it says put on home screen. I say yes. Press done. And I go back, and there it is on my phone. It allows me to open it up, and I have my Google Slide iPod. And then I can go ahead and just test it out. It's all there. It's exciting. And here it is. And it plays. Thank you for watching this video on how to make a Google Slide iPod. Check out these other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.